Okay, so this is the TNLOA training for the 2021 COVID-19 procedures. Just as a note at first, these are still being approved through the TSLA. So for right now, this is what our procedures are. This is what they will be in the season. Do I think they're going to change? No. This is going to be our procedure for the COVID-19 for this upcoming season. Right now, it looks like our season's going to take off without a hitch unless we hear something else. Now, schools just went back into session, and most schools, I know Rutherford County, Williamson County, Wilson County, we were all virtual in some capacity this past week, and we're all coming back to full capacity or distance and traditional learning this coming Monday. So it's vital that we check our emails at all times during the course of the season. Once you get an assignment of a game, be checking your email constantly. I know that I am in charge at my school of all the live broadcasting, and I cannot tell you how often live broadcasting and live ticketing, online ticketing, how many times a team got quarantined and then the game got canceled. So keep track of your email during all this. Here's what's going to be covered in this presentation is pregame procedures, face-off mechanics, equipment inspection mechanics, dead ball mechanics, face covering recommendations, and post-game mechanics. First things first. Let me do this. There we go. Our pregame meeting. This is going to be the first year where we're going to have a game administrator on the field. First thing is this, the R will be the only person that participates in this meeting. This meeting consists of the coach's certification, the game administrator spiel, and the coin toss. So starting with the R first, only the referee will participate in the pregame meeting. He will introduce himself and then continue the introductions. So go with yourself first, then the game administrator, home coach, away captain, home captain. So all we're doing is we're working around the circle. There'll be no handshake that will take place during the pregame meeting. If you want to be like fist bump before it takes place, that's fine, but we're not going to say, hey, shake hands. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep them apart from each other. Following the introductions, the game administrator speech, the referee will certify the home coach, then the away coach. In this certification, you must ask both coaches if their goalie is legal. Make this in the first couple of games. We're always going to ask, coach, do you certify that your players are legally equipped by rule? If he says yes, coach, is your goalie also legally equipped by rule? He has to have the ND 200 SEI certified chest protector. If he does not know, then you need to go and investigate. But all goalkeepers this year are required to have the Cortio Cordis protected chest protector. The tag on the back will say NOXI, and at the very top of the tag, it'll say SEI. That's how you know if it's a certified chest protector. Most goalies got them last year, the year before last, but you have to check this as part of your pregame meeting. After that, the referee will ask about any pregame activities of the head coach, anthem, prayer, etc. You'll commence with the coin toss procedure, showing your coin first, heads and tails to the away team and the home team. Ask the away team what they would like, heads or tails. We are not going to toss the coin in the air and let it hit the ground. Toss the coin up, catch it in your hand. We're also not going to catch it in our hand and flip it over onto our other hand. We're not flipping the coin, we're catching the coin. Toss it up, catch it. So make it part of that. I'm going to toss the coin up in the air. If I drop it, we'll do it again. Simple as that. Keep it short and concise. The referee will rotate all involved to have both teams' backs to the goal they're defending first and third quarter. So that includes the coaches. You're rotating everyone. The game administrator will do their own spiel Now, in the training yesterday, people were asking what the game administrator needs to be talking about. For right now, I looked up the TNLOA procedure for game administrators. Game administrators are supposed to handle all unsportsmanlike conduct ejection fouls. If a player gets ejected from the game administrator needs to be responsible for removing that player, that person, could be a fan, could be a coach, could be a player, from the immediate playing area. Not you, it's the game administrator's job. The other thing you're probably going to hear out of a game administrator is the school's COVID-19 policy. Mask, what they want us to do with masks. Now, if we walk on the field and those game administrators have a different policy than we have with the masks, we're going to pertain to that game administrator's mask policy because it is that home team's institution. So we need to make sure we're keeping with that rule. The home team will face the bench side. The away team will face the opposite side. This is a 3-man, but it goes also with the other side, with a 2-man. The umpire and field judge, all other officials not participating in the administrative meeting / coin toss will continue with pregame procedures, checking sticks, looking at the goals, making sure the field is legal, talking to the table, talking to the clock operator. That's what those officials are going to take place. This pregame meeting is going to take place right when we get on the field. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of the presentation about how we're going to be doing this season because of just all the craziness going on. My rotation didn't work very well, but yes, we're supposed to rotate with the backs to the goal. So the pregame lineup, there will be no pregame lineups of starting players before the game begins. The referee will discuss all rules and procedures during the administrator's meeting. Remember, we have no new rule changes from last year. The only thing that's changed is the requirement for the goalie to be legal with a chest protector. Once the game is set to begin, all players and game personnel will proceed directly to their starting positions. Does anyone have any questions so far? Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the game administrator meeting at the end of this presentation. Face-off mechanics. This is how it's going to be described and laid out, and then I will show you how it works. Upon the start of a game, all face-offs will occur with the following procedures. Both face-off players will line up 6 feet off of the midline, ready for the face-off commands. The official will visually inspect for legality of the ball and then place the ball on the ground before the players address the midline. The referee will visually motion and audibly command in, and the players will address the midline. The officials will say down, and both players will address the ball simultaneously. The official shall make adjustments as needed without touching the player or his cross. The official will back out of the face-off area, place the whistle into his mouth, and when motionless, say set. The official shall blow his whistle, varying the cadence, and begin live ball play. Okay, I know I can already hear people's gears are turning in their head. So this is basically how it's going to look. So players are 6 feet off of the midline, as well as the face-off official. 6 feet off, and the face-off official. All the other players. We don't know anything yet about the wing players off on the side of the field, whether they need to be on opposite sides of the field or whether they can be right next to each other the entire time. We do not know that yet. For right now, wing players are free to do what they want to do as long as they're behind that line. That's perfectly fine. Once the face-off is set to begin, the players are 6 feet off the line. The face-off official is going to inspect the ball. Look for it to be a NOXI standard. We need to do this every single face-off. There's still some lacrosse balls that are in people's collections that are not NOXI certified. If we find one, it's not a penalty. Just throw it off the field, toss it off, get a new one. Like Alan said yesterday, Alan gets in the habit of putting a ball in his back pocket. So he has a ball in his back pocket when he's officiating on the field, so he can grab a new one if he needs to. He doesn't have to wait for anything. Once the face-off is set to begin, the face-off official will place the ball down at the center X or square and then back out. He will visually motion and audibly command in, and the players will address the face-off. Once both players are up to the line, then we will say down. We only say down one time. You make adjustments as they're needed without touching the player or his cross. The official will back out 6 feet away and remain motionless when stating set. The whistle already needs to be in your mouth when you say set. Then vary the cadence of your whistle after the set command. For the 3-man mechanic, the same procedure will go for the face-off official, but now we have the off face-off official, which is the O. The U.S. lacrosse 3-man mechanic marks it down as an L. So this official right here has an L on it. It's the lead left because he is running left. This official is running right. Remember, the wing official is just going to have the same duties as before. The off face-off official will line up opposite the face-off official. Same procedure as before for the face-off official. Off official will stay in the same place. When the ball is placed down and the players address the ball, he will be the off face-off official, and this face-off official will be the only one that says in. He's the only one. After that occurs, just like in the 2-man mechanic, you can rotate to either side that you feel you need to, but this official needs to stay here until this official backs out to give the set call. Then he can proceed to his normal location. Now, the in signal. I apologize, but the only signal that I could find that looked really, really good was the unsportsmanlike conduct signal. So this is unsportsmanlike conduct. You move your hands visually in to the inside of your body and the front in a clapping motion and stating in at the same time. Basically speaking, you are doing this. In, that's it. In, that's it. That's all you're doing. So when they get up to the face-off, the midline, then you say down. In a normal year, officials are in the habit too often of saying down multiple times. Hey, down on my toe, down on my toe, down on my toe. No, that's not necessary. On my toe, down. Give them one command for down. One. That's all. That's all we need is one command. Okay. All face-off mechanics. All face-offs are to be conducted the same manner as last year. Players are may assume a standing, kneeling, or both knees on the ground position. This is not like college where they're going to that neutral stance. Players may use a moto grip with both hands like this, or a neutral grip with one hand up, one hand down. Officials pre-whistle are looking for both hands wrapped around the cross and both hands touching the ground. The heads of the cross tops to stops with the ball stop in line with the scoop of his opponent's cross. No part of the body or cross touching the midline. The cross head completely perpendicular to the ground. No part of the player's body within the neutral zone. No helmet over the head of his own or his opponent's cross. A contrasting color between the gloved hand and the head of the cross, and no tape on the throat of the cross. Once the face-off official has blown his whistle, normal U.S. lacrosse, NFHS, and TSLA procedures will take place. It's a normal face-off. It is a normal game. All right, I know the big burning question, mask and face covering recommendation. Before the game starts, the official shall wear a face covering until the start of a contest. That means when you're walking to the field, you will have a face covering on. When you're on the field, you will have a face covering on. Pre-game everything, talking to the table, talking to the game administrators, talking to the coaches, checking sticks, checking the goals. You will have a face covering on. During all dead ball situations, such as timeouts, injuries, equipment inspections, and in between periods, when within 6 feet of players, fans, or coaches, the official shall wear their face covering. In times when live ball play has stopped and will resume with a quick restart, a face covering is not required. When you're on the field, you are not required to wear a face covering. Some officials are going to elect to always have one on, and that's perfectly fine. But I know it can be hard to breathe through a face mask. I'm a choir director full-time at a high school level, and I have to wear a face covering, a mask on my face all day long. I know how difficult it can be.
Better wear face mask for lacrosse.
Biggest thing is just protect yourself. You got to protect yourself and the people around you. If you get within 6 feet of players, pull your face covering up. After a goal is scored, that's a dead ball situation. Signal that goal, pull your face covering up, and start going through that procedure. When we're in that face-off mechanic, pull your face covering up. You can pull it down when you put your whistle into your mouth, because then you're 6 feet away. This has to be a consistency. If we have one or two officials that are never doing it, now we have a problem. Every official needs to maintain consistency within this recommendation. Number one, it's showing transparency that we are trying to protect ourselves and the players on the field. And number two, we're adhering to the CDC guidelines that are outlined in all schools. No matter if you're a teacher or not, once you walk onto a school's property, you need to adhere to their policy. Their policies right now are this. If you're within 6 feet of anyone, you must have a face covering on. Okay? This is just a recommendation, but before the game and all dead balls has to occur. One of the biggest things that on Amazon right now, you can get yourself a buff that has ear holes. It's like the whole neckerchief thing with ear holes. You can pull it down, pull it up real quick. You don't have to worry about it falling off your face. They're on sale right now. You can get them you can get 4 of them for $10 in black, white, gray, and then like the speckledy gray. You can wear those. Your face covering is up to your discretion, and I'll get the question in a second. Following the conclusion of a game, the team shall not engage in a post-game lineup to shake hands. Now, our jurisdiction ends when we leave the field. I'm not saying stick around to make sure they don't do this, but if they choose to do a prayer after the game's over with, we're going to leave. Once we leave the field, our game jurisdiction has ended. Rah, 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 shish, boom, bog, go, whatever. Like, let them do that, but there's going to be no lineup on after the contest is concluded. Let me get this chat question real quick, and then I'm going to open it up for some more questions. Do we have an example of a recommended mask or gaiter? Do we need to be consistent or just black mask or gaiter? I think that's more up to you. We're not going to have a requirement for a specific mask. I don't think that's necessary right now. Only thing I could say is black, gray, or white. Don't walk out there with a neon pink mask on your face. You're gonna look like a fool. Don't do that. Wear something that is of the same colors that you are wearing on the field. So that would be black, white, gray, something along those lines. If mask or gaiter, doesn't matter. That's up to you. That is completely up to you. Now, I have emailed this presentation to Jeff, and Jeff is going to be forwarding this on to the TSLA. So I'm hoping that the TSLA will share this with every single coach, and now they know exactly what we're going to do. So they know what we're going to do on the field with masks. They know what we're going to do on the field with our game administrators meeting with the face-off mechanic. They're all going to know exactly what's going to happen. What about light blue surgical masks? If that's what you would like to wear, because it is a piece of medical equipment, I'm going to say it's fine. That's perfectly fine. I just want us to stay away from the extremely bright colors, designs, logos, stuff like that. Let's keep it one solid color and nothing neon. No neon pink, neon green, neon blue. But Sam, I think the light blue surgical mask is perfectly fine. Now I'm going to get back up to this slide real quick. And I'm going to keep the chat open if you want to ask any questions. This pregame meeting, I've created a template that I'm going to send off to the TSLA, the TNLOA board for them to approve. It's an email template that if you're the R on a game, you need to start sending emails to head coaches, the home institution and the away institution. You're going to CC your officials on the field. Here's why this is important. If something changes and a team gets quarantined, we need to know. So your officials and the assigners, they need to be CC'd on these emails so we have this communication with everyone. The pregame administrators meeting is also when the R on the field can say, hey, we're going to do the administrators meeting, coin toss, and coach certification at 15 minutes before the game starts. You let them know when it's going to occur. U.S. lacrosse requires us to be on the field at least 20 minutes before the game starts.
Shut up.
Since we need to be on the field 20 minutes before the game starts, we need to get in the habit of every official walking onto the field at the same time. Let's walk on the field together, meet in the parking lot, and walk on the field together.
Oh, man.
We need to start doing this. This is a procedural thing, and it is a professionalism. We all meet 30 minutes beforehand. Cool. 10-minute pregame, walk on the field, game administrator meeting 15 minutes before, check sticks. Okay, we're good to go. This type of email is not hard. If you go into Arbiter, you can find all the information in Arbiter. The home coach email, the game administrator email, and the away team email. You can find all three of them within Arbiter. We need to get in this habit of having this communication. No more of the umpire, field judge contacting the referee. The referee needs to have everyone in the same line of communication, especially this year. This year is going to be different with this pandemic going on. We have to remain consistent and extremely transparent. It's not hard to send an email 48 hours before a game starts. It is not hard to send an email at least 48 hours before a game starts. Oh. And that's when that email needs to be sent out at least 48 hours before. One of the other reasons is, let's say one of you get quarantined the day of a game. Your partners need to know, as well as the assigner needs to know. These things need to occur. I have been quarantined twice because of my kids. I caught COVID because of my kids. My wife and I both did. Like the kids I teach, it is what it is. If you get quarantined, we need to know. If the team gets quarantined, we need to know. This is a different kind of year. Let's maintain that open line of communication and always be checking our emails. Always, 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 always be checking our emails. Now, I've muted everyone because I heard some chatter in the background. But before I move on to the next presentation, I would like for everyone to firstly, unmute their cameras so we can kind of see each other's faces. I know you didn't expect that to come, but I want everyone to kind of see what everyone looks like and have a chance for everyone to ask questions about what's going on with our procedures today. So that was the COVID-19 policy and procedures. I think it is the best thing we have going on right now. It is the best way to protect us and to protect the people on the field. It's a very simple mechanic. All we're doing is adding in. That's all we're doing. The entire mechanic is going to take place the same way, except we're not touching people. That's all that's going to occur. Does anyone have any questions about what's going on with our procedures before the game starts and as the game continues on, or questions about mask recommendations? I understand some people have a hard time breathing. I really do understand. Protect yourself and protect the people around you. Let's maintain transparency and consistency throughout the season. No matter who you're officiating with, let's keep it the same way the entire time. Does anyone have any questions? Tom says, will the schools and coaches be briefed on the face-off mechanic? This presentation that I created, I've sent to Jeff, and Jeff's going to be sending it off to Jenner for all of the TSLA to look at. Everyone's going to be sending this stuff off. That's the biggest thing. The face-off mechanic is also something that we need to discuss before the game starts. We have that game administrator's coin toss to coach certification 15 minutes before the game starts. Right after that occurs, have your face-off meeting, especially at the very beginning of the season. 4 or 5 games in, we can keep on doing that. After about the 5th game, the teams are used to it. We don't have to really get really in depth about what our procedure is going to be. But this procedure is going to remain the same until we deem it necessary, where we don't have to do it anymore. So unless miraculously every single person in the country gets vaccinated within the next 3 weeks, this is going to be our procedure. look at it like that, okay? Any questions? It could be a really dumb question. That's perfectly fine. I would rather us ask the questions now than ask them later.
I'm just going to go on record and say I'm not going to wear the striped black and white face mask that you showed an example of.
Oh, those are so stupid. Yeah, if you want to wear that, if you want to be super, super fancy, whatever floats your boat, bud, but I'm not.
If we're all working a game together and one of you guys wants to wear that, just let me know in advance so I can prepare myself mentally for that one.
I got my zebra gator. I'll be rocking it.
Yeah. If anyone wears one of those in my game, I have a pink whistle I haven't opened yet, and you're going to use that one.
All for it.
I think we should all wear yellow ones, and then we could just throw it if we have to, right? It could just be our last flag.
That's going to be the 3rd flag, taking off the face mask and just throwing the face mask. Got it. The other thing is with all this pregame procedure, Woody and I had about, I guess, almost 2 hours of conversation yesterday after our training yesterday about a observations form for officials. Now, there is one located within Arbiter, but I don't think it's been used in about 10 years. So where Woody and I are working together to create an observations form that'll be linked, where if someone is, let's just say Dean and I are reffing together, and I look at Dean and I say, hey, Dean, can you observe me on today's game? Can you evaluate me? And Dean says, yep, I can do that. No problem. After the game is over with, he can access that evaluator's form through Arbiter and just fill it out. Now that goes for anyone. Now the big thing is not everyone can observe or evaluate anyone. That's not the way this works. If someone asks to be evaluated, email any of the assigners. You can email myself and you can be approved to do it, because part of the evaluator's form is registered evaluator, like through the TNLOA, an approved evaluator, which means you get a permission to evaluate, or certified evaluator through US Lacrosse. You have one of those 3 things. Now, someone who has 25 years experience, evaluate all you want. Be the observer. But someone who might have 3 years experience, I'm going to say probably not to the evaluation, to be an evaluator. There needs to be a little bit more experience in that. So it all depends on the situation, who your partners are. Now, that's an on-field evaluation that takes place. There will be off-field evaluations that take place. At the very end of the meeting, I'm going to put a survey into the chat that'll be signing up for the mentor-mentee program. Right now, I have 18 people who have signed up to be mentees or mentors. By next week, I want to have all mentees assigned with a mentor. If you would like to be a mentor, please let me know through that survey. Those mentors, I would like them to be able to do observations, have your first couple of games with your mentee where you can be with them at all times, and going through our brand new mentor-mentee program. Okay, before I get into the next part, does anyone have any more questions? You can unmute, you can type in the chat at any time because I want to get into the three-man mechanics presentation for today. Yeah.
Hey, Gene, I have a quick, I just want to let everybody know I'm assisting Gene's process here with registration. So I might be sending you guys some chat messages. Something that's super helpful, not immediately. If your name in the Zoom meeting is not like your full first and last name, if you don't mind just clicking on participants and then clicking on your own name in the participant list, you can rename yourself. That'll just help me as I help keep track of attendance for Gene. So sorry about the dogs, they're ready to eat. But anyway, that will help me out. I might send you a message back and forth in the chat. I'm just, like I said, I'm doing a little housekeeping for Gene behind the scenes.
Yeah, and Woody, the Flash is Damon Boyce.
That's perfect. He was going to get a message. I was going to find out who that was.
Okay.
So I asked Jim, I see iPad 9 Jim. So I asked Jim if that was Jim M as well. So a couple guys, just let me know by changing your name or just sending me a chat. My name is Randy Jocelyn in the chat window.
Beautiful. Okay. TNLOA training for three-man mechanics. The face-off mechanics changed a little bit because of our policy, but I'm going to go over it like it's a normal year. Transitions, settled play, goal scored, and penalty relay. Here's our three-man mechanics meeting. Yesterday, the last week, we did our two-man mechanics. Here's what will be covered is face-offs, three-man mechanics, settled situations, goal scored, restarts, transitions, penalty relays, conduct versus USC. We're going to cover it a tiny bit. What's not going to be covered is pregame, equipment checks, quarter and halftime mechanics, and fight mechanics. I'm going to go over dead ball fight mechanics today as well. I'm going to be going through this pretty quickly today. So if you need me to stop, please holler. The three-man mechanics manual, please download the 2- and 3-man mechanics manuals on the US Lacrosse website. They are on the home page of US Lacrosse. If the tab that says boys lacrosse, if you go to that, then you can see officials. You click on officials, and that's where you'll find the PDF downloads for the 2- and 3-man mechanics manual. No matter how long we've been officiating, we are always students of the game. So reading the rule book and reviewing our mechanics manuals is extremely important. Refer to them throughout the entire year. If something comes up, the mechanics manual and the rule book are probably going to have your answers somewhere listed within these two manuals. Big things to remember when we're on the field. Know your physical ability. If you can get up the field really, really fast, you can be a little bit out of position according to US Lacrosse. If you can't get up down the field really, really quickly, maybe anticipate the play just a little bit more. Biggest thing is to protect yourself and to put yourself in the best position to make the best decision. You cannot make a really quick crease call from 30 yards away. You need to be in the right position. Only way to be there is to anticipate the play every single time. Mechanics are only a third of the equation. Rules and game management and communication all exist as part of our game. Knowing all of those is going to make what's going to help you grow as an official within the sport for new guys, and always keep our officiating abilities right up at the top tier for all veteran officials. Some important terms when talking about three-man mechanics. Lead official, whose primary responsibility is the goal area, the crease and goal line, and inline coverage. The trail official, who will stay behind the play, helping to keep the ball between him and the lead official, and will have the 4-second goalie count. The single side official, who will work the far side of the field and is responsible for the 20 and 10-second counts. The trail and single are also responsible for always watching the shooter. Watch the shooter. You have the wing official on a face-off, who is any official not participating in the adjudication of the face-off and shall stand off the restraining line and below the wing line, is responsible for the restraining line and both wing lines. The face-off official, the official adjudicating the face-off, and is responsible for pre-face-off fouls and adjudicating the face-off. The lead left, you heard me talk about that. The mechanics manual refers to this official as the lead left, is the official that helps with the face-off and is responsible for pre-face-off fouls. So this was our captain's meeting. I'll go over it anyways, like it's a normal period. You have the referee on one side and the umpire and field judge on the other side. Your captains, home captains are the blue, away captains are the red. Only the referee will speak during this part of the game unless the referee wants the other guys to speak. The R will introduce himself and introduce his partners. The R will show both teams both sides of his coin, always ask the captain, away captain, what he wants, flip the coin in the air and catch the coin. Do not flip the coin over on the hand. Whoever wins the face-off will award the choice of alternate possession, or AP, and the goal to defend first and third period. Whomever chooses goal to defend will rotate the captain so their back is to the goal they are defending. After that takes place, the R is to point in the direction of attack for both teams, and the R will signal which team has AP. Now, how you choose to signal, I leave that up to you. In the past, what I have done is usually touch the shoulder of the person who has AP. Well, this year, we're not going to do that. So do it in whatever way you would like. We can also use the alternate possession signal. If I'm not mistaken, the alternate possession signal, boom, alternate possession. Isn't that right, Woody? Yeah, it's hands like this, alternate possession. So you can always do that alternate possession signal. This is a reface signal, alternate possession signal, so it's half of it. So we can always use that alternate possession signal. We will rotate the players to their goal, put their backs to the goal they are defending following the face-off, following the coin toss. Now, in our procedure for this year, this is going to be just the one team captain for each team, the head coaches, and the game administrator. We're going to rotate everyone. Line up in a normal year, referee on one side, umpire and field judge. So basically how this is going to work and how US Lacrosse kind of lays it out. The referee needs to be facing the scoreboard. So think about that. Wherever the scoreboard is, if there's a visual scoreboard on the field, he needs to be facing the scoreboard. So you can kind of imagine how that's going to be. Only the referee will speak during the lineup. Referee will introduce himself and his partners and will speak about important matters such as hits to the helmet, defenseless hits. But by the end of the season, everyone knows what the spiel is. They're not interested in what you have to say. Tell the goalies to shake hands, then they will proceed to their goal. Then the remaining players will shake hands and then go to their starting position. So goalies will go in. They will be on the opposite ends. They'll shake hands, proceed to their goals. Everyone else will shake hands and proceed to their starting positions. I hope everyone liked that graphic because that took forever to do. Then the referee and umpire and field judge will proceed to their normal positions for the start of a game. On a face-off mechanic, we've already talked about this, but this is in a normal situation. The wing official at all times, once the wing official gets into his position, he will give the hold signal, which is the signal you see on the left. Once all players are set, he will give the ready signal. The lead left responsibility, the official marked with the L, his job before the face-off adjudication is to start is to look at the wing official. The wing official's primary responsibility during the pre-face-off is to ready the field for play. He will keep his hand up in the air until the field is ready, and then give the ready signal. Once the field is ready, the lead left official will tell the face-off official, we're good, or ready to start the face-off. This is the mechanic we need to stay with. Responsibilities. Now, this is mainly body position. Once the face-off adjudication is about to take place, the wing official off the field needs to have his body open diagonally to view both wing lines. The lead left needs to have his body position open to view the bench side wing line, and the face-off official is right on the face-off. This is body position. Responsibilities for line violations. The lead left has the green, so he has his restraining line. The face-off official, his only responsibility after the face-off occurs is the far sideline. And then the wing responsibility, his restraining line, and the bench side sideline. Those are their responsibilities to make calls for line violations. More important terms, the face-off official, who will be the single side official once play starts, will watch the cross/body with his peripheral vision and watch the lead left for the ready signal. After the face-off restart, watch for any violations. The face-off official and the single side official, the same people, will restart play after all face-off violations. Let me say that one more time. The single side official must restart play after all face-off violations. Now, if you deem it necessary, we have 5 seconds left in the game. You tell the wing official, I'm running, I'm going down, so you can get in position for a real quick goal if we have one. That's perfectly fine. But in a normal situation, the single side official will restart play after all violations. The lead left, who is the off face-off official, will watch the body and align the cross using the midline. He'll watch the wing official for the ready signal and angle the body towards the bench side wing. After the face-off restart, watch for any violations and echo possession. Now, I have that as single side, but that should be wing. He'll ready the field for the restart and give signal to the lead left and angling the body towards the center of the field, echoing possession. Now, I'm going to go back up here real quick. You can see where I've placed the wing side official, the wing official. This is what U.S. lacrosse is looking for. In the mechanics manual, this is where they want them. In actuality, you need to be about right here, closer to the restraining line, where you can open your body more to the middle of the field, where now you can see everything just that little bit more. U.S. lacrosse wants us to be right here, 5 yards over and 5 yards in. In actuality, we really need to be right over here, closer to the restraining line. One thing I've always done is I place my right foot right on the restraining line if I'm over here. My right foot's on the restraining line. I have my restraining line right here. I'm ready for this call. And I'm angling my body open towards the center of the field. Okay. So this
Dean,
is after the face-off.
Dean, this is Dean. With
Yeah,
this,
go ahead, Dean.
with the positioning that you're talking about for the wing, it
Go ahead.
seems very possible that the wing is not going to be able to see the players who are behind him as to whether they're, whether they're on the line or not. I understand you're saying U.S. lacrosse is saying we should be there, but I mean, my sense is we should be actually further back as opposed to further up, so we can see the entire.
So you're saying be back here.
Entire restraining line.
So you're saying be back here?
Well, I'd put myself in the court, right, and a little to the right around there.
And again, because
if you're up there and these players, the players of over closest to it there are down closer to the, you know, to the bottom of the box there, and you're looking across the field, you're going to miss something. Whereas
Sure.
if you're down here, you can still see the single side restraining line. I think you have a better, you know, sense if you want to keep the peripheral vision for the bench side wing line. I mean, that's just my take on it. If U.S. Lacrosse has you know said that this is where it should be, then I guess this is where it should be. But
Well, again, U.S. Lacrosse is, I look at it as more of a recommendation rather than an exact layout of where we need to be. U.S. Lacrosse recommends us being 5 yards in and 5 yards up. That's what the U.S. Lacrosse recommends. It's just like in a normal play, U.S. Lacrosse wants the single side official to be right here, when in actuality, almost always, we play further down. So I guess this all depends on what you are looking to do and what you are comfortable with. I know that myself, I'm comfortable being right on the restraining line as a wing official on a face-off. I know other people who they're more comfortable being right here. If you're more comfortable being right here, that is up to you. It's what you are comfortable doing and what you believe is the best position for you to see everything. The biggest thing is this wing official has to be able to look at both wing lines. So like what Dean was saying, being right here on the restraining line will not only give you the view of the restraining line, but it will allow you to open your body to see both sides where you're not looking out of the corner of your eye to see a wing line. You can open your body. So yeah, just like Dean was saying, but the position of you pre-face-off, I think that's more up to your discretion and your physical ability and what you can do in moving out. I mean, I know that I start right here, and as soon as that face-off begins, I immediately do this. I back out along the restraining line. As soon as the play begins, I immediately back out. Only reason I want to be right here is so I can open my body and be a little bit closer to these guys. So although the U.S. Lacrosse recommendation is to be in this location, it's more up to you. I know Vincent, when he is a wing official, he's almost always right about there. I think that's about right, Vincent. And so, Dean, if you play right here, absolutely. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing in this position. It's just no matter what, be in the right position to visually see everything on the field. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to say what you're doing is incorrect. I'm not trying to say what I'm doing is incorrect, but I think it's more based on what you feel is the best for you in that position. Okay, cool. Oh, now I got everything open. Okay. So this is the first look at a transition off of a face-off. So big thing here is looking at ball direction. So the ball is heading to the left. We can see our lead left will now become the lead. Our wing official will now become the trail, and our face-off official will become the single. So the gray locations you see is the first step and then the second step. Big thing is this lead left, who's becoming the lead, running to the left. He needs to move directly to his best position to view the goal. The wing official, who will run down to midfield and then move into his spot, 5 yards in, 5 yards over, and 5 yards into the center of the field. And the face-off official will run down to the in between the wing line and restraining line, and then proceed down towards the goal. Now, again, this is going to get into the same situation that Dean and I were discussing, is where you feel most comfortable. So I'm going to exit out of this real quick. If you feel most comfortable as the lead, right on goal line extended, absolutely do what you got to do. If you feel more comfortable as the single, being up a little bit higher within the box, that is fine. but as the single official who will take all counts on the field. Part of your responsibility as the single is to watch this side of the crease. This official cannot see this side of the crease at all times. So halfway down the box between goal line extended and the restraining line, anywhere within this area is perfectly fine. And again, as officials, depending on where the ball is, will also change our position on the field. If the ball is located over on this side of the field, this trail is not going to be right here. If the ball is right here in the alley, this trail is going to be over here next to the sideline. And this single side official is going to be inching in towards the field. We're going to be moving with the play just like the players do. So, but this is on a transition. Biggest thing is on possession, everyone needs to echo possession, not necessarily the mechanic, the visual mechanic, which is wheeling the arm to the side of the body, but echoing audibly. If the faceoff official yells possession, every official needs to yell possession. Echo the call. The faceoff official who becomes the single will take the 10-second and 20-second count. The single side official is always responsible for the clearing counts. The only count that the official is not responsible for is the goalie count. That the single side official is not responsible for is the goalie count. The 20-second count is done on our timer, which is located on our waistband. The 10-second count is a visual count. So let's make sure that we know our counts responsibilities. The single will take always the 20 and the 10. And whatever official is regarding which goal will take the 4-second goalie count. Now, opposite direction, same thing occurs. The lead left will transition down to midfield and then move in to become the trail. The wing official off that faceoff will proceed directly down to become the lead. And the faceoff official will move out to the side of the field and then proceed in as the single side official. Same mechanics as the other direction, but this is going to the right-hand side. So first off, ball moving to the left. Put yourself in each one of these positions of your movement and where you're going. As the new trail, the wing official becoming the new trail, the reason you're going to stop there at midfield is to watch for an offsides penalties. Remember that on the right-hand side of the field, you still have 6 players that as soon as you yell possession can charge up to midfield. So you're going to be right there as the trail, right on midfield to watch for initial offsides penalties. Same thing going the other direction. The lead left face-off official will transition down to midfield to look for initial offsides penalties and then proceed in. The trail official, as he's sitting there at midfield, the other thing that he is looking for is substitutions, making sure that the substitutions are legal. Remember, for a legal substitution to occur, the player needs to be completely off the field before his replacement can run on. The other thing with substitutions, the player running off the field has the right of way. If, let's say, a red team has a player in the substitution box, blocks the player running off the field. Now we're looking at, we got to tell this coach, you have to give way to the player running off the field. The player running on the field does not have the right of way. Only the player running off the field has the right of way on a substitution. Normal face-off mechanic. With your toe, you'll direct the players to where the ball will be placed, and you will say the down command. We will only say the down command one time. The player should address the upcoming ball location at the same time. The ball is not on the ground yet. Adjust the players as needed with the ball not on the ground. After the players are in the correct positions, according to the official, you'll place the ball on the ground in the middle of the cross heads. Place the hand on top of the cross heads and place the whistle into your mouth. You will say the set command with the whistle in your mouth No movement will be allowed after this command of the players. You will back out of the face-off area and blow your whistle, varying the cadence of your whistle. This is a normal face-off mechanic. This is a settled situation. These are our fields of view. So the green circle you see is with the ball location. The ball is going to move around the field. Therefore, our zones are going to change. Right now, we have the ball behind the goal. So it is the lead left's responsibility. Let me get that question real quick and then I'll move on. Kirby said, yesterday, I thought you said we would place the ball on the ground before telling the players to approach. Yes, Kirby, you're right. This mechanic that I just talked about is if we were not doing the COVID procedures. What the presentation I did the first time was the COVID procedure. So this mechanic has changed for this year, but this is in a normal year. This is what our mechanic is. So we have our COVID procedures for this year for the face-off. This is a normal face-off without the COVID procedures. Okay, so going back into our zones, the ball is behind the field. It is the lead's responsibility. Ball is behind the goal. It is his ball. So the single side is looking at the middle of the field. What we always are going to see is we're going to see all the official zones are going to cross in the middle of the field. Ball moves. You can see the lead left is now moving. Both the single side and the lead are going to be looking at the ball as well as their other responsibility. The middle of the field as the area in front of the crease, and the lead is always going to be looking at the goal as part of his secondary responsibility. Ball moves again. The single side moves out into the alley. You never want to let that ball go behind you. Always keep that ball in front of you. Now the lead's primary responsibilities are the goal and the area in front of the goal, the crease area. Single sided still has his eyes on that crease area and the ball. Ball moving up the field. Now this is a position that Alan and I were talking about. Alan gave us a story of what happened to him in a situation. Anytime we have two officials where the ball has now crossed into their areas, continue to watch the play a little bit longer. I believe Alan's story that he shared was he was the single side official on a situation. The ball was about to cross into the trail zone, and he turned his eyes at the last second and the kid got crushed. The trail didn't see it because he was watching, I think, the substitutions in that case, and no official saw the infraction occur. So always watch the ball a little bit longer when we're crossing our zones so that we know that the other official takes the play. Ball's rotating again. Trail moves out a little bit to maintain that area. Trail moves out a little bit more, keeping that ball in front of him. Now we have a crossing of zones again. We can see how the trail and this response and it has moved out because the trail's responsibility is that sideline. So he's getting close to that sideline. Ball moves again. Now this is another one of those things of you choose the best position for you. You can see the light gray L is your right in line with goal line extended. The dark L is where the ball is still in front of you, but you're behind the goal a little bit. This is whatever position you deem you feel the most comfortable in. I know myself, if I'm in this position and it's settled, I'm going to go behind the goal and be behind the goal, or a little bit behind the goal and let that ball pass in front of me. Ball rotates again, and we're back to that same position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to the front, and we're going to see this in a full transition, ball working around and seeing how our movement and zones are rotating with where that ball is located, and how our position as officials change depending on where that ball is. So basic outline of zones. Biggest thing with our zones, if the lead pulls out, then the single should come in. That is correct. no matter what, where the ball is, our position on the field is going to fluctuate. Imagine that all of us are connected by a rope. If we're connected by a triangle rope in this position where the trail moves out, the single side is going to move in. So all of us as the third team on the field, we're going to move to both sides of the field depending on where the ball is. I cannot state enough of how we cannot get flat-footed. The purpose of us not remaining motionless as officials is we're staying on our toes for really quick reactions, but also remaining flat-footed, we can get into a trance of ball watching. Remember, our zones dictate that we need to watch the ball, but also watch everyone else, because only one person has possession of the ball. And there's still all these other players on the field that we have to keep our eyes on. So we're not remaining flat-footed and remaining vigilant and having our head on a swivel, watching everything on the field. Don't get tunnel vision and get locked into ball watching. So although we're rotating the ball around the field, our positions are changing. We're always having something else we have to watch during all these times. For restarts in the three-man mechanic, I'll get this slide and then I'll answer that question. Anytime a play is called dead and the official has blown his or her whistle for any reason, we need to have a restart. The on official will blow the whistle back into play. The U14 and high school have quick restarts. That is, varsity middle school and high school will have a quick restart. Quick restart means that the defensive player can be within 5 yards. No offensive player is allowed to be within 5 yards. That is a quick restart. Below U14 in the youth levels, there is no quick restart. Get everyone 5 yards away, every single person. In order for a quick restart to occur, those defensive players have to be 5 yards away and must give a clear path to the goal. If the player is within 5 yards, he has to give a clear path to the goal. Or get 5 yards away from the player before playing the offensive player. Easy enough. On a restart, no matter what the restart is, all goalies are allowed 5 seconds to return to their goal before a restart occurs. If the goalie runs all the way up to the other side of the field, shoots the ball, misses the cage, play is not restarted, we give that goalie 5 seconds to run to the other side of the field. After 5 seconds has elapsed, doesn't matter if he's in his goal or not, we start the play. Biggest thing on restarts is check your partners to see if they are ready for the restart in settled situations. Oftentimes, quick restarts, we're just going to restart it and just go. But in settled situations, look at your officials to see if they are giving you the ready signal. Remember, the ready signal is arm up, pointing in the direction of attack. Look to see if your partners are giving you that signal. I know I'm guilty of it, of not looking at my partners to see if they're ready. I restart it and something has happened on the field. If your official's hands up in the air, that is the hold signal. Play is not restarted. Wait for your officials to do this. Now, again, on a quick restart, it's not necessary to always look at your officials, but it's always good to keep your partners in your vision. Dean says, point with fingers together. Yes. Doug Kirk got onto me so hard in my first 2 years for pointing like this. It's not football. We're not pointing like that. We're not doing this. This isn't jazz hands. Fingers together. Okay? Point with your fingers together. Thank you, Dean, for bringing that up. Something really, really small, but having your fingers together whenever you're signaling, unless you're giving a number, having your fingers together is what, as you move up in the game, people start really looking at. They start being real nitpicky of what you're doing, and keeping your fingers together on when you're pointing in the direction of attack is very, very important. Thank you, Dean, for bringing that up. So here is our mechanic for blowing the ball back into play. Let me minimize that. First, when we blow the whistle, our hand is always going to go up. Whenever we blow the whistle, our hand is going to go up in the air. The only time when we blow the whistle and our hand will not be up in the air is when we're starting a face-off, when we're blowing the whistle for a face-off, and when a goal is scored. When a goal is scored, we're not putting our hand up in the air, we're just blowing the whistle. So we're going to put our hand up in the air, blow the whistle, point in the direction of attack, and keep our hand there until the team that is going to get possession picks up the ball. We're not going to immediately put our hand back up. We're going to keep our hand in the direction of attack until he picks up the ball. The reason we want to do that is so everyone else on the field sees what happens. If you're real quick, people might not see or be able to recognize what the possession call is or the direction of attack. After the guy picks up the ball, we're going to put our hand back up. Once he has stepped back into the field of play and the ball is ready for play, we will whistle and wheel our arm to the side of our bodies. This is the mechanic for restarts, period. There's no fluffing this. Hand up, blow the whistle, point in direction of attack. Once he picks up the ball, put your hand back up. Once he steps into the field of play or the play is ready, we blow the whistle and wheel our arm around. Only the official that is doing the restart is going to do this. Every official is not responsible for wheeling their arm around their head. That is not the case. Okay, a goal. A goal is good when the ball completely passes the plane of the goal, composed of the rear edge of the goal line and the goal pipes. A goal is good when there are no technical fouls, like a play on or personal foul slow whistle scenarios in play against the scoring team before the goal is scored. Notice how I said scoring team. If the offense has committed a play on, a technical foul when the ball was loose and the guy kicks it into the goal is no good because there was a technical foul play on against the scoring team. A goal is still good when there is a personal foul or technical foul against the defensive team. Now, in high school, we have the 2 foul mechanic. If we have one penalty flag on the defensive team and we throw another penalty flag, we kill the play unless there is an imminent scoring opportunity. If there's an imminent scoring opportunity, we're not going to kill the play. That's why I did not put personal fouls under this scenario. If the defense commits a foul, it is fine. The goal is still good. If it's a technical foul, the technical foul the goal wipes out a technical foul. If it's a personal foul, like slash, illegal body check, tripping, cross-checking, if it is a personal foul, the foul will still stay when the goal is scored. Means we're going to start the next possession with a man in the box. So this is the mechanic following a goal. So I'm going to start on the top of the screen with a single. The single side after a legal goal will move to the crease and dead ball officiate. That's why you see that gray S. You will let the new face-off official cross in front of them and then move to the restraining line to become the new wing official. Now notice the side of the field where this is taking place. The lead will run in following a legal goal, signal goal, retrieve the ball, and will proceed to become the new face-off official. So whatever person signals the goal The lead will become the new face-off official. The trail in this scenario, following a legal goal, will watch for dead ball fouls, wait for partners to start moving towards the face-off, will watch for substitutions, and will head to his new position as the lead left or the off face-off official for the new face-off to begin. This is a rotation. The single side official in the three-man mechanic runs everywhere on the field. We have to give the single side official a break, so we're going to rotate. Okay. This is from the other direction now. Now, notice where the bench side is. From the other direction, starting with the single side after a legal goal will move to the crease, dead ball officiate like before, let the new face-off official cross in front of them, and then move to the restraining line to become the new left lead or the off face-off official. Okay, easy enough. The lead will retrieve the ball after a legal goal, give the goal signal, and become the new face-off official. The trail in this scenario will become the wing official. I'll go back over these. Firstly, notice where the bench side is, the single side, where he will motion the lead to become the new face-off official, and the trail to become the off face-off official or the lead left. Notice where the bench side is. The lead will become the new face-off official. The single side will run into the crease, dead ball officiate, and will become the off face-off official. The trail in this scenario will become the wing official. You'll hear this said a bunch. If we run into a scenario where one team is always scoring, that means that the lead and single are always just changing places. The trail is what we call in the rocking chair, which means all he's doing is really running from here to here the entire time. The officials on the field can rotate beyond this. If we run into a situation where red is scoring on blue and it's 5-0, we can rotate in another way where the trail can become the face-off official. We can rotate any way we need to. This is a normal rotation scenario for after a goal is scored in the three-man mechanic. Okay, this the next few slides are over the transition game. So on the transition game, in this scenario, we have the official down here who's going to restart the ball, and the ball is moving upwards on the field. This official, and this is going over who has the zones in this scenario, who has these zones. So the official who's going to restart the ball will restart the ball and just kind of look where everyone's watching. In a transition, our zones will get so much bigger. We have to watch everything. Where in a settled situation, we're watching the players who are on our side of the field. In a transition scenario, we're watching everyone on both sides of the field now. So our zones need to open up. Don't get tunnel vision and ball locked. So this is the three-man mechanic for the transitions of where we need to be moving. So first off, look at the ball direction. So the ball is possessed on the left-hand side of the screen. The single side on a change of possession will start the 20-second timer and immediately proceed. I'll get that question in a second. And will immediately proceed to the midline. He will count for offsides while he's on midline. And once the ball crosses the midfield or is close to crossing midfield, once the ball crosses midfield, he'll visually start the 10-second count. Now, this is not saying that the ball needs to cross midfield before the single side official moves down, but when the play is getting close to midfield, then he can cross down. This official, the single side official, is looking for initial offsides penalties, real quick offsides penalties. The new trail, who is the lead in this scenario first, the dark L, the new trail will stay in line with the ball at all times. So if the goalie's walking up the field, this official is going to stay with the goalie and then should watch for offsides, penalties, and substitutions. Notice how I have the lead official transitioning to the trail, and where he is stopping, he is going down to where the substitution box is, slowly walking his way, looking for offsides, penalties, or offsides infractions, crossing midfield, and then proceeding to his trail position. The trail in this scenario, the dark T, will become the lead going the other direction, will go down, crossing midfield, watching for the 6 players that are on that side of the field, and then proceeding down to his lead position. Let me answer this quick chat question real quick. Tim says S and L needs to watch out not to use as a screen. S and L need to watch out to not use as a screen.
No, I'm just saying that when we're back here behind the goal and so forth, you got to watch out not to be used as a screen for the wingers when they're playing the back. If you want to be in close to the goal, you got to be careful they're not taking advantage of you being there.
Yeah, you're correct. Remember, we always want to keep the play in front of us. We never want to let the play go behind us. So what Tim's talking about is players. It happens to everyone. Play moves really, really quickly. Is players using the official as a screen on the field, like to get in the way of the defender. No matter what, let's keep these players in front of us. The play must always be in front of us at all times. So they don't have that option to use us as a screen in that situation. Thank you for mentioning that, Bud. So this is coming from the opposite direction. Same mechanic occurs. The lead position will become the new trail. Remember, this lead will have the 4-second goalie count. The goalie has 4 seconds to get the ball outside of the crease. He can leave the crease and the 4-second count ends, or he can pass the ball out of the crease and the 4-second count ends. Big thing on these transitions, though, if I go back up to the second one, if we have a technical foul during the transition, the counts will reset. The only count that will not reset on a technical foul is the goalie count. So if we ever have a technical foul, a loose ball technical foul, or a flag down technical foul, the 20-second count or the 10-second count will reset on the field. Same thing coming from this direction. If we have a technical foul, flag down, or play on, the clearing counts, the 20-second count and the 10-second count will reset. Just as a disclaimer, because I don't think I put that graphic in there, the reset is this. This is the signal for reset. You have to visually do it and audibly do it. If we are resetting the counts, reset. Now that's just on the transition. Now I know myself as a college guy, and a lot of the college guys, whenever we have a change of possession, we also do this. We will say reset. It's kind of beaten into us because of the shot clock in college. If we ever have a reset of counts due to a technical foul at the high school level, we have to visually and audibly reset the count, and everyone needs to do it. Everyone on the field needs to say reset. In a normal transition or a normal change of possession, every official on the field must give this signal. Must give this signal, the change of possession signal. Okay. Let me kill that one real quick. Okay, this is going to be who is going to take the restart on a settled situation. who is going to take the restart? So wherever the blue, I guess, triangle is who's going to have the restart. So this is a inline restart. The lead will take this restart. So restarts responsibilities, the lead will take all inline restarts. The single will take all far side restarts within the alley. The trail will take all restarts above the restraining line and on the bench side sideline, including shots on goal. So the ball is going to rotate around, shot taken. We can see how our position moves. The lead will take this restart. Shot taken. The lead will have this restart. The lead will still have this restart. The single will have this restart. The single moves out, but the trail will take this restart since it's above the restraining line. That's right there on the line. It could be the trail or the lead. You just communicate with each other. The lead will take the restart. Ball direction. So restart responsibility is on a free clear. The only reason we're going to have a free clear is if the free clear rules, if a team is clearing the ball to one side of the field and we have a technical foul violation where we kill the play, or a flag down situation where we kill the play, a free restart will occur. The ball will start at midfield on the offensive side of the field. The trail will take the restart on any free clear. Following the free clear, the trail will watch for additional substitutions. Remember that a free clear is given when the righting team commits a technical foul or a flag down slow whistle play and the play is blown dead, or a personal foul in which the play is blown dead. Okay, so this is the restart responsibilities. Ball direction moving to the left. The trail, who's on the far side, on the right-hand side of the screen, will have the restarts on his side of the field. So let's think about this real quick. The trail will have the 4-second goalie count and will have any restart on his side of the field. The single in this transition is sitting at midfield and the lead is across midfield. The new lead must get to the midline as quickly as possible and look for initial offsides and then cross midfield. The single's responsibility on every transition is to get to the midfield as quick as possible, but also looking and watching for players. Don't just turn your back and run. Proceed up to midfield. The trail will take restarts on that side of the field. The Bermuda Triangle, the scourge of a lacrosse referee's earth, is restarts within the Bermuda Triangle. The reason it's called this is anytime we have a restart, a penalty, a big hit in this area, every coach can see it, every player can see it, and it's right in front of the substitution box. We will never restart the play within the Bermuda Triangle, ever. We will pull the ball out. In this situation, because the ball is moving to the left, the trail is going to take the restarts. It's on this side of the field. Any restart near the substitution area must be pulled out of the triangle. The trail will restart this action and will have the bench sideline violations. The lead, just like the single, shall ready the field for play and inform the goalie of the position of the restart. So we need to move the ball out of the Bermuda Triangle. That's the same slide as before. Same thing going from the opposite direction. The trail will see that we've killed the play. The ball might have got rolled out of bounds. We're going to pull this ball out of the Bermuda Triangle and ready the field for play. Biggest thing is when we're pulling the ball out of the substitution area, we are not going to put the ball to restart any closer to the midline than when we blew it dead. We can move the ball as far into the field as we want to, as we need to actually, but we're not going to move it closer to the midfield line. We have to keep it the same as when we blew it dead. So just remember, Bermuda Triangle, restarts within this triangle are a no-go. Same thing as before, as we covered, the trail was going to take all the restarts on his side of the field. Okay, so this is transitions and what's going to occur on these transitions. I've already covered this once, but this is just a additional disclaimer on this transition game. The lead will take the 4-second count. We'll take all restarts on his side of the field. All officials will signal reset upon a turnover. All officials signal it, no matter what. The other thing is when the ball crosses midfield, the 20-second clearing count has ended and the 10-second count has begun, which for the single is a visual count. Once the ball goes in to the attack area or the goal area inside the box, this area right here, every official must signal that it entered the goal area. That is a hand up and then motion down towards the goal area. Every official needs to signal this. It's letting everyone on the field know the ball is touched in. There's no more reason for us to continue our counts, because you're going to hear coaches, you're going to hear players, get it in the box, get it in the box, get it in the box. Well, if we've already signaled, they don't need to get in the box. Same thing from the other direction. On a quick turnover, we need to proceed as quick as possible. Every official will signal that the change of possession has occurred by holding one finger up and tweedle-deedling it above our head, and we proceed into our normal positions. Penalty relays. So on a penalty relay, in this scenario, the lead has thrown a flag. If the lead in this scenario has thrown a flag, he is going to relay this penalty to the trail. Now, his need to move up really, really far into the box is not always necessary. He can just signal what he wants to do. He is going to signal the C note, C-N-O-T-E, the color of the player, the number of the player, the offense, the time on the penalty, and then the E is whether it's an ejectable offense. So the lead's going to proceed up to the trail, tell the trail what's going on. The single side is going to move motion into the goal and tell the goalie what's going on. The reason we want to let the goalie know what's going on is we need to let him know how long he's going to be man down so he can tell his defense what he wants them to do. In this scenario, the single has thrown a flag. So the single is going to relay this to the trail, and the trail is going to proceed over to the bench area and give the C note, the color, the number, the foul, and the time, and if applicable, the ejection. If we have multiple penalties on the field, the officials need to come together to discuss this. If we have a penalty that could possibly be an ejection or a non-releasable penalty, every official needs to come together to discuss this. The reason we are coming together is because one official might have seen something different. Always come together to discuss anything if it's going to be a non-releasable penalty. The other reason and last reason for that is because the coach is almost always going to ask why. If we have a non-releasable penalty, the coach is going to wonder why it was non-releasable. This lets the trail who's going to be adjudicating this penalty know why it's a non-releasable penalty. Well, coach, he hit him in the head. Well, coach, it was a defenseless player. We can let the other official who's adjudicating know all the information because this trail is going to be up there right next to that coach the entire time. And the coach might give it to that trail for the next 15, 20 seconds. One thing I've learned about lacrosse is if the coach doesn't like something, he's still going to let you know that he doesn't like that for several minutes after it occurs. So the more information we give to the trail official who's adjudicating this penalty, the better off we are. In this scenario, the trail has the penalty flag. If the trail has the penalty flag, it's not necessary for him to run into the other officials to tell the other officials what he has. He just needs to stay in that position, tell the other officials what he has. The biggest thing, anytime we have a penalty on the field, we always must let the goalie know what's going on, what the penalty is, and how long it lasts. Always let the goalie know so the goalie can tell everyone what's going on. In my experience, goalies are very understanding. If there's a penalty, he knows that it wasn't him that committed the foul, unless he did commit the foul. Run in, tell the goalie, hey, he slashed the guy. It's going to be a 1-minute penalty. The goalie's going to say, okay, thank you. And you just run out to the other position and ready the field for play. The last thing I'm going to say about penalty relay is when the relay is occurring, the other officials on the field need to ready the field for play. Get the field ready. Count the players. Make sure the correct amount of players are on the field when the play is supposed to restart. Make sure all of this occurs. Okay, I'm going to stop this share real quick. Does anyone have any questions? I got about 20 minutes left. That's going to allow me to get into dead ball officiating. But does anyone have any questions about the 3-man mechanics that we've gone over so far? And again, I'm giving this an opportunity for everyone to see each other and unmute their cameras where we can recognize the face with the name and answer any questions, and anyone can chime in on anything that they've seen in the past. So if you've had a situation in the 3-man mechanic that you want to bring up, this is the time I want you guys to bring it up. I think my biggest thing within the 3-man mechanic, comparing it to the 2-man mechanic, yes, you have a third official on the field, but it doesn't take away your responsibility to watch everything on the field. Every official on the field is responsible for watching everything on the field. Now, the one thing I didn't talk about is, I know it's a big pet peeve of mine. It's a big pet peeve of a lot of veteran officials. It's called fishing in someone else's pond. I can already see people smiling. If you see a penalty occur next to another official, he might not have seen it. But I will say this much: if you fish in someone else's pond, someone else's area, and throw a penalty flag in someone else's area, number one, you're probably going to tick off that official because you threw a penalty flag that was right next to them. But number two, you're now going to make that official look like he doesn't know what he's doing. Whenever we throw a penalty flag, take a second to analyze the entire scenario. I know myself, I throw penalty flags from the pocket. So it forces me to think about it. If you throw from the waistband, that's also perfectly fine, but it's okay to have a late penalty flag of 1 or 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, as long as it's the correct play to call. Remember that a penalty flag we can always wave off, but do a double check to make sure that you're making the right call at that right time. Does anyone have any questions about the 3-man mechanic? It's going to be something that's going to get easier over time. I know we have some junior officials who are in our meeting today, and they will only be doing the 2-man mechanic, but knowing the 3-man mechanic is important nonetheless. Knowing what your responsibilities are. Yeah, Woody.
Yeah, just a quick comment. You actually said something just right before you were talking about the fishing in someone else's pond. You had mentioned, always keeping your eyes on the field and a dead ball mechanic, and also keeping the play moving around penalties. One thing that I want to, this is probably for the newer officials that are attending, the slides that you showed about the transition after a goal scored, I just want to take a moment to say that's an area where we really probably ought to make sure that the single side official understands that he doesn't have to be in any hurry to run up into that, in this slide, the wing position. The lead, becoming the face-off official, should move, I think, pretty quickly and urgently to get the ball ready for play. Goals up, he sits there, he's making great eye contact with his partner that's coming across from the other side of the crease area. They're right there. There's probably about 6 or 7 players in between them, usually cheering, high-fiving, getting pissed off at their other defenseman. Whatever's happening, it's happening right in this little hole area. But the lead should, as soon as that area is calm, they should hustle up and get that ball ready to play. In a 20-goal game, shaving 20 seconds off of this is a lot of time, and we all get to go in our cars quicker and get out of there. That lead should be hustling up, becoming the new face-off official. But what I really want to show is that in this slide, for a newer official, it looks like the lead and the singles are kind of like moving to their new positions. I really want to make a point of focus that single side official, he doesn't have far to go, and he doesn't need to work urgently. Let that lead becoming a face-off official get the ball ready. That single side guy can stay and be there to adjudicate any kind of issues going on, because there are times when this play turns into a fight 10, 15, 20 seconds or a subtype of a comment after both officials have left. So that's my only point of focus that I'd like to relay, that the single side should just wait for the attack and defenders to start to move to the wing lines to get ready for the next faceoff. And he can just kind of come in behind them. Everybody's being watched the entire time. That's my only point of focus commentary.
No, I completely agree. The biggest thing is after a goal, all the officials need to be watching all the players. The guy that's scoring is getting high fives and chest bumps and that weird jump thing where they turn into each other. But all the defenders are probably going to meet together too to discuss what happened. The single side official and the trail official, stay where you are. There's no rush to get to your position initially, just like Woody said. Let's continue to watch this to make sure nothing extracurricular happens following a goal. This proceeding to here, we can sit right here for a second and just stay there. We can even stay right about here. That's perfectly fine. But the reason I have both these officials moving in together is so if this official is about to signal a goal and this official does not agree that there's a goal, it's a chance for us to meet together.
Gene, this is Dean.
Go ahead, Dean.
Going back a couple of slides, I think it would be good if you could talk about the responsibility of the new trail and potentially the new lead in helping the single side official when the clear is along the single sideline. Because there's quite a bit of difficulty that the single side is going to have in looking down to see whether a player's feet is on the line, whether there's hits from behind. So I think it would be good to talk about what responsibilities the two other officials have in helping the single side in the course of a transition.
So let's do this in like two different scenarios. So in this transition game that we have ball direction moving to the right-hand side, I'll blow this up. The official during that transition, I guess what Dean's talking about is since the single, just by the notion of his name, he is single, he is by himself. The other officials need to help that single during a transition play. During that transition, when that single is running up to midfield, the lead and the trail, well, I'll talk about the trail needs to be backpedaling backwards, not turning his body and running towards his new position. He needs to be backpedaling out. The lead, who's becoming the new trail, moving the direction to the right, there's really no impetus of hurrying in this scenario unless it's very, very fast. So in this transition game, when the single is, busting tail to get up to the midfield line, the trail and the lead both still have all of their visual commands towards that side of the field, helping that official in case something happens behind his back, like what Dean was saying. And sometimes it occurs, something might happen right behind us. And so when that trail, who's becoming the new lead, transitioning to the right, as he's backpedaling out to get to across the midfield line, watching that position where that single is now in kind of not a bad area, but in a less active body position, since his either sidestepping, turning and sprinting, going the other direction, or even in a slow scenario, just backpedaling out, helping out the single side since he is by himself is very, very important, like Dean was saying. Dean, you want to add anything else to that?
And Gene, the single also is going to be having the count and is going to be having offside responsibilities there. So it makes it even more important for the other two officials to assist the single side official in terms of sideline play, or, as you say, play behind him or whatever. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's transition games you got 20 players on the field. You got 6 that are substituting at the same time, all in a matter of 20 seconds to 30 seconds that all this is occurring. So anytime we have a play on the bench side of the field, and both of the two officials on that side that are looking at everything, we communicating to the other single side is why I want us to always motion the change of possession or reset calls, so that official knows to reset his timer. The other thing is, once the ball crosses midfield, I know that I myself I've caught myself like pointing that he has crossed midfield or he hasn't crossed midfield yet, helping out the single side official in case he does not see it, especially when the play is on the far side of the field. Maybe the single doesn't see everything that occurs. So communication across the field is important, and it's okay to yell across the field because we're communicating with each other. A lot of our communication is nonverbal. I know that myself, I'm a big proponent of the less you say, the better it is. The less amount of syllables, we're not paid by the word. But when it's communicating to your partners, that's where you're going to make your money. That's where you're not going to run into as many problems and situations. Dead ball, transition, bad sideline calls, late hits although I know that with the guys that I've officiated with, like I know that Dean, when I'm on a field with Dean, I know that if I turn my back, he's got my back. If I'm running into a new position, I know he's got my back. But for younger officials, just know that your partner is also there to help you the entire time. He's not going to single you out. So communication across the field is very important. Then with the other thing, with the count, since the single side has that visual count once it crosses midfield, when he steps in the box, if he steps in the box on the bench side of the field, that's why we all have to motion up. Now, I know that I do it as well as everyone else does it. If the single side is counting, once we get it to about 7 or 8, the singles blood pressure is going to start going up. So I know me as an official, if I know that count's getting pretty high, I do this. Like I'll almost give like I don't have anything. I don't know. I don't have anything. Keep that count going. He hasn't stepped in the box yet. I will visually tell him that he hasn't stepped in the box with my hands, by holding my hands up and out. Nope, nothing yet, nothing yet. Oh, there it is. Hand up, hand down. Now the count is stopped. So communicating to the other side, because that single side does not see everything on the near side of the field. So we have 10 minutes left in our training today. It's really not enough time for me to get into the dead ball officiating and the unsportsmanlike conducts and conduct fouls. I'm happy that everyone has been able to chime in a lot during today's training, but I know we have some newer officials today. The biggest thing is is I want you to speak up if you have a question. This is the 7th training that has taken place up to this point. We've had a lot of trainings that have occurred up to this point, and we still have plenty to go. Every single Sunday from here on out, we're going to have an additional training. Every single Sunday from here on out. If you have a question about today's information, please ask now. But we will be continuing. Once March hits, we will do a once every 2 weeks game film and game scenario meeting, where if you have something that happened during the course of your game, you can bring it up to a group of officials and we can discuss that scenario. That'll happen every 2 weeks once the season starts. So once March starts, all the way through playoffs, every 2 weeks, we're going to have a meeting. Not going to be required, but also understand that U.S. Lacrosse is requiring us to have 8 hours of training as officials. And I am keeping track of how much training everyone is getting. Now, just because I know people are going to fluff it, if you observe or are observed, that also counts towards your training hours. So newer officials who are observed 2 or 3 times, that's going to count towards your training hours. Each observation is going to count as 1 hour of training that you've received. Now, as a state, we're going to have a statewide meeting at the end at sometime in February, sometime this month, not this month, next month. We're going to have a statewide meeting. That's going to count 2 hours towards your training. If you do a training through U.S. Lacrosse has lots of trainings that you can do. They give you a certificate. Send that to me. My email is on Arbiter. Send that to me and I'll mark you down as you've received training through U.S. Lacrosse. That counts as you continuing your education. Every year we need to get 8 hours of training in until before playoffs begin. Now I will say with the playoffs, just to maintain transparency, the local area reps, there's one in every location. There's one in Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville, and in Memphis. I believe 3 of them are in this meeting right now. The local area reps have been discussing a playoff recommendations, like what everyone has to do to qualify for the playoffs, what you have to do to qualify for championships. They are still in those discussions of what is going to be entailed in a playoff qualification. Once that have finished that, it'll be said that hopefully it'll get finished by the time we have our statewide meeting, and it'll be discussed at that statewide meeting, because I know that's been a topic of discussion over the course of the years, is what qualifies people for championship games. Well, I'll tell you this much, that 8 hours of training, if you don't get it, there's no championship game. That's good, absolutely going to be part of it. Participation in my trainings, though, you're required to have 1. I do highly suggest that you attend multiple, though. The next few trainings that I'm doing, especially the ones over crease play, fight mechanics, those are very, very crucial for our game. Please participate as often as you can. We have about 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, Gene, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So on the 10-second clearing count, when you're on the single side, and if the ball is, pretty close to your area and you're getting close down, to being expired, is it okay to tell the guy, hey, got to get it in 2 seconds, anything like that? Or you just like let him, of course, if he's on the other side, you're not going to do that because you're not going to shout across the field. But if he's close to you, is it's like, man, you got like 3 seconds, you need to get it in.
Yes. Yes. As much as I hate to say it, as officials, we're also coaches.
Mm-hmm.
On the field, we want to coach the players. We're not trying to take away the responsibilities of the actual coach, but if we're getting close, be like, hey, bud, get it in, get it in, get it in. Now, here's the other thing. With your visual count, I'm not asking you in your head to go 1,000, 2, 1,000, but your motion should be a motion out, in, out, in. Make your count really big. I know with myself, always keep your count at shoulder level or above.
Mm-hmm.
If it's below shoulder level, you're now disadvantaging the team that's clearing because they can't see you. But yes, if they're getting close, hey, bud, get it in, get it in, get it in. But on a super high level game, like NBA game, Christian Brothers game, MBUS game, even Ravenwood, like a really high level game, I'm not telling them because they should know by now. But middle school, JV high school, oh yeah, let them know. Let them know they're getting close. The higher the level of the game, the less we're going to give that to them.
Got it.
Anyone
Coaches
else have?
will appreciate that too.
Yeah. Again, it's you can talk
Coaches
kids
will
out
like
of
that.
situations. You really, really can. As officials, you saw in my diagram, all of our zones cross right there in front of the goal. If we see stuff happening in front of the goal, tell them, hey, 47, back off. Hey, 23, I see you, back off. We see a pick, the guy sets a pick, and maybe he was moving a tiny bit. Hey, bud, set your feet. Like, let's communicate on the field. Let's communicate with those players to prevent us from having to say something and call a penalty or have an infraction on the play. The more we can prevent, preventative officiating is extremely beneficial to us not getting an earful from coaches, number one, but also just keeping lacrosse fast. It's a fast sport. Let's keep it fast. Anyone else have anything to add? You could add something, you could have a question.
Hey, Gene, I've had coaches that kind of call me out for like, hey, why are you coaching that kid? You know, and I would almost use the same line every time. Hey, coach, I'm just keeping the game moving. I'd extend the same courtesy to your players.
Exactly.
You know, especially on the lower level. Just rip that one out really quick if you need to. Hey, coach, I'd extend the same courtesy to you guys. And certainly less coaching the higher the level the game is. But, you know, I mean, it's a middle school game. Some of these kids have never been on the field ever. Hey, dude, get off the line. And you know, you might even give him the grace. You blow the whistle, he's on the wing line. Next face off, just, hey, dude, you got to stay behind the line all the way. Let's just be good people, and let's keep a smile on everyone's face. And you know,
one thing that I've always lived by is I will call felonies, not misdemeanors. If the guy's toe is touching the line, who cares? Did it affect the play? No, it's a misdemeanor. Let it go. Just let him know that you saw him do it.
I think in the middle school games, personal fouls can be eliminated as well by talking to the young kids. Hey, don't do that. Don't swing that stick. And they get that one hand coming back. You're like, don't do it. Don't do it. Try to save it and keep the game going.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Remember, in middle school, one-handed checks are not allowed. If you see a kid rearing up with a one-handed check, tell him to stop. Let him know, stop. You know, preventative officiating, looking for felonies, not misdemeanors. If we see something occur and it's a technical foul, it doesn't affect the play, maybe we have an option, like Woody said, give him the grace and let it go. If the coach says something, coach, I'm keeping play fast. I don't want to stop the play every single chance I get. In lacrosse, we could literally call a penalty every 5 seconds on the field. Something is happening. Someone's breaking a rule every 5 seconds on the lacrosse field. What matters is what we want to view as worse or stuff we can let go. So felonies, not misdemeanors. If you keep that into play, if you throw a penalty flag, no one knows what your penalty flag is when you threw it. Okay, is this a penalty? Is this a felony or a misdemeanor? Is this a personal foul or a technical foul? What do I want to call? Throw the flag if you see something, but let's outline that with that felony misdemeanor category.
Hey, Gene,
any more questions for anyone? Yeah, George, go ahead.
One of the things that I do in the pregame with the coaches, especially at the youth levels, is talk to them about, I'm going to talk to your players a lot on the field to keep it moving. And the coaches seem to appreciate that, and then they don't have any questions during the game.
Yo, no, absolutely. That those middle school levels, like George and Woody were saying, some of those players picked up a stick the week before. They don't know the rules. They just know they have to throw the ball out of their stick to another player on their team, and they're trying to score a goal. So if you tell the coaches beforehand, hey, coach, I'm pretty vocal on the field. I'm going to talk to your players. I'm trying to keep the play moving. I want to keep, weird like technical fouls. I want to keep those violations from occurring so I don't have to throw my flag. If I can talk to your players and talk them out of a situation, I'm going to talk to your players. And like George said, at the middle school level, those coaches appreciate it. That means they can concentrate on developing their players on the field, and we can concentrate on keeping them legal on the field. No, you're spot on. Great comment. Any other questions or items to say? Scenarios that have occurred during a game where we want to bring that up. Well, all right then. Hey, also be sure that if you did not log into Arbiter and accept today's training, log in. We have I have an attendance sheet that I'll log in. I can force add people, but I'd like for you to try logging in and accepting this event. So it marks you down as attending this event. All of the events from here on out will be put into Arbiter that you can accept or decline like a game. So it's like, it'll pop up on your app as well. The Arbiter app, it'll pop up on your phone as well, where you can accept it through the Arbiter app.
And I'll say it's possible if you've accepted an event and it doesn't show up, very specifically if you're on the website, there's a filter. So on your schedule, there's a drop down that says include events, games, or all. It's possible that you've maybe set the filter to say include games only, in which case you wouldn't see the events. That's just one of the drop downs on the Arbiter schedule.
Woody and I ran that yesterday.
I couldn't find it. So, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just go to your calendar, go log into Arbiter, go to calendar, and then that's the same filter that says, future games, past games, the next 30 days, whatever. Yeah, it's going to be right there.
So hit the all, and it's just like a normal game. You just accept or decline it. So this is today's and this is next week's. You accept and decline. Just like a normal game would be done. And that allows us to see who's participated in the event. So not only am I going to have my attendance from the Zoom call, but I'll have the attendance on Arbiter. So now all the assigners can look up, I can look up all of the trainings that have occurred. If you've attended one in the past, I am force adding everyone that's attended one in the past. So if you get a notification, oh, you've been added to an event, well, it was a past event. So just be aware of that.
And Gene, I apologize because I actually I registered some people during the meeting that hadn't been able to do that. So if you find that you can't seem to accept the event, or it says you've already been accepted and you said to yourself, I didn't do that, I probably did it during the meeting. Just to let you all know. It's
because Woody's being extra. That's what it is. Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add? Okay, I'll stay on the call for a little bit. If you guys want to stay on and talk, I can go back into the PowerPoints if you'd like to. Or even if you'd like to stay on and introduce yourself, maybe I haven't met you on the field, you're more than welcome to stay on. But other than that, I appreciate you guys coming to today's training, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.